adored Damsel.
Oh, thank you.
And the reason I don't have my copy with me for you to sign is because I promptly gave it to my daughter as soon as I finished it, with instructions that she needs to give it to all of her friends. And what I loved is how it starts off very innocent. You know, it seems very simple, and then it increases in intensity. And particularly from the beginning, it's very easy to confuse kindness with paternalistic, patronizing behavior. And, you know, as we can see in a lot of the reaction to the Me Too movement, where some men are saying, well, you can't even say anything nice to a woman anymore, kind of thing, this book really kind of exemplifies that so much in how, you know, initially you think, oh, the prince is, oh, I saved you. And what, you know, you think that he's being kind and how nice. And then you start realizing the sort of control that this kind of behavior is. So as women, or certainly as myself as a woman, I could really identify with that. And I felt it was a really powerful message and a beautiful way to tell it. And I also feel that not only is it important for women to read it, but it's important for men to read it. But I wonder if they'll get it.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
So I'm wondering, you know, how do you feel about the book? And would you want it to be in the hands of men? And do you think they would get it? And, you know.
One of the early, thank you so much for reading the book. I'm thinking about it. That really means a lot to me. One of my early reviews said, oh, it's a really interesting book, but it's going to go over the heads of its readers. It's going to be lost on its readers. And the readers are young women, right? And so I thought, this is not a critique of my book. This is a critique of young women, you know? And so, rage. But first of all, I want everyone in the world to read my book. Of all genders, I do. Not just because, I mean, I love her, you know, I love her. I want the world to love her, or at least read her and hate her. But I don't think it will go over the heads of men. I think that all of us need language to understand experience, and that patriarchy is bad for everybody. It's not like women are rad and boys are gross and down with the men. Not at all. I love men, you know, I love humans. And a world that tells men your role is to do this thing is as dangerous and limiting for men as it is for women. Mm-hmm. And Emery, you know, he really thinks he's doing what he's been told to do, you know, just like she's doing what she's been told to do. So I guess if there's like a moral in the story, it's that patriarchy is bad for everyone. And that and that doesn't mean everything turns out well for everyone, you know. But yeah, I would love it if men read my books. I was telling these women that I was at an event once where they gave a bunch of our books to a bunch of readers. There were 5 authors, and there were 500 readers, and 100 of them had been given each of our books. You know, each of them made 100. So there were 5 lines of 100 people, and we were all 5 women authors. But mine was the only book. It was What Girls Are Made Of, that had been pre-selected that only girls were getting my book. Not one boy got my book. And I was like, first I was like, look at all these young women who are reading my book. And then I was like, wait a minute, why did my book get marginalized? And why do they think my book is only for girls? I was at a book event once where I had a man say to me, why would I ever want to read your book? Because I was reading this scene about menstruation and a pap smear. And I was like, my answer was, what was the assumption that I would ever want to read your books, you know, my entire life, you know, that centers that specific kind of white cis male, you know, which is a human, and I love humans, and I love white cis males, but that was the only narrative I was fed. And so if more men read women writers and read non-cis writers, and they would get the wonderful experience of getting to live more lives.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, everyone should read it.
Yes.